There we go. We're live. Build working group, 14th of July. Present is myself, Michael, and Alexis. Let's do a stand-up. Alexis, do you want to do a stand-up? Tell us what you're doing.
Yes, I'm still working on CI reconciliation. I got a few pull requests approved in Join Node and IO.js. So now the reconciliation is complete to a certain extent in that Node test pull request works with both Join Node and IO.js. And then we got Node accept pull requests, also working with both of them. Although in IO.js we're missing support for flaky tests, and also the ARM build is taking so long that I think it wouldn't be practical to use this job for merging pull requests. And also we're missing still V10 support. So I'm working on V10 support and those two work items for IO.js Node accept pull requests.
Well, of course. So do we need more Windows machines?
Well, once we transition collaborators from Join Node, we will be able to move all the resources that are now donated by Microsoft to the old CI. We'll be able to bring them over to the new CI.
Okay. So my stand-up is I've been pushing on this 3.0 release. I'm seeing it as a blocker to getting the converged release out because we need to get these breaking V8 changes in the wild before we start dumping converged releases on people, which will have the breakages in them. So Nan is close to ready. I've converted 3 main projects to it, including Level Down, Canvas, and Big Num, and shaken out a couple of bugs in the process. The main blocker now is documentation for the new Nan, which is partly done, but I need to dive in there and help finish the rest of that off so we can get that released, and then we can get IOJS version 3 out, and then we can start teaching people how to upgrade. So I've been the LTS plan calls for the releases by end of August. So that's what we're tracking towards there. What else? I've hopped back on the process.release changes. Haven't got a ton of feedback on that, which is a little bit surprising. Thought it'd be more controversial than it is. I guess people have been. It's been sitting in the repo in the IOJS repo for so long that people are used to the idea. And I've got to get back on the Node.js changes to use that and to merge in all the other changes that we've been floating on Node.js. So that's been occupying a lot of my time and a lot of my mind. So that's me.
Great. Michael, do you have anything to update us on?
Nope, I'm not related.
Okay. Oh, the other thing actually that I did was the Raspberry Pi cluster, I've mounted the build directories via NFS on a solid state drive on the local network, and it turned out to only give us a tiny increase in speed for the test runs, which is surprising. But it has given us more space, which is nice, so they don't run out of space so quickly. And I opened that issue on Node.js about the startup time of processes on ARM and how when you look at what they're doing, they are taking a whole lot more work to start up than on other platforms. So if you do an S-trace, you see it doing a ton more work than if you did it on x86 or x64. So that's something I've been looking into. It'd be nice to figure out how to make those processes start a lot quicker on ARM so that we can run the tests quicker.
Yeah, we need to. I think we're gonna tackle ARM from multiple angles. The startup time is one of them, and the other one is parallelizing the tests, like we said last time. And I'm also looking at running in the emulator. Maybe just run the build in the emulator and then parallelize the tests in the actual machines, or even use a cross compiler. Not as the only solution, but as multiple solutions, so that we can have a faster build without compromising the safety of the tests.
What is the threshold that we're looking for node accept pull request? ARM is slow, but is it really too slow?
Well, the issue with this is that node accept pull request is serialized, so it can only run one instance of the job at any time. And maybe we can revisit this later on, but it's sort of a feature, right, in the sense that it does a fast-forward merge on the branch. So it cannot test two pull requests at once. It will fast-forward the changes that it tested, right?
Okay.
So I would say we should be able to run it under an hour, or people will start getting pissed off.
Okay. So will it? If somebody tries to run it while another one's running, it will complain?
It will block and wait for the first. It uses a feature of Jenkins. Throttling. So yeah, that's the key difference with no test pull request.
Right. Okay, I can see that being a problem.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I'll as soon as I finish V10, I'll work on the ARM part.
Okay. So just to jump to some items that I know are active, I opened a new issue on the build repo 135 for items that we've got to tick off to get Converge releases out that I'm aware of. We came up with that list last week at our meeting.
Okay.
So we need to get them all ticked off by August. I started working with Michael and Michael, Michael Rogers and Mike Dolan on getting some certificates paid for by the foundation. I haven't checked my email to see if I've got anything there yet. But we need to get an Apple developer account. I've signed up as an individual for that and need to attach a organization to it and then pay for an Apple developer account. And then that gives us the signing certificates for OS X builds. The other one is getting a code signing certificate for Windows. And then on top of that, there's the SSL certificates. They're not as important, but it'd be good to go with the converged release with Node.js Foundation certificates for builds.
Right. So the longest poll seemed the first few items. Releasing with new Jenkins from Node.js.org and Converge CI.
Yeah.
But I'm working on the second one. Is anybody actively working on the first one?
No. I've been holding off on that one just because I've been unsure about how to approach the current status of the hosting for Node.js.org. But I think, and also I've been hoping for someone else to step up and propose a new architecture and do some of that work. But I think what we should probably do is just outline a converged architecture that takes some of what Julian's got already and introduces a lot of what we're doing on IOJS, because even now the website working group is looking at a new architecture for the website that borrows a lot from the way that IOJS does it. So I probably need to...
I have a new thread on that, actually. I have a new thread going on that. I'm trying to inject some urgency into that and actually get it done. Because right now there's actually no code at all in the repo. So I don't think that anybody's actually done the work yet to do that integration. A lot of time. As far as it goes, I think what it's looking like is it'll look a Node.js hosting once it's up and running. Just make it accessible at new.nodejs.org and at www.nodejs.org and at just nodejs.org, and then we'll slowly move over those DNS entries once we know that it's up and running.
Okay.
Okay, so I didn't catch most of what you said, Michael. I had a bad connection. But so basically, we're going to handle it by DNS and point into different hosting providers. Is that correct?
Yeah, to the same thing that we're using for iojs.org right now.
Okay.
I did start work on the DNS stuff as well. I'm going to rename we've got a repository in there called email. I'm going to rename that to domains and put email management and DNS in there as well together. And I was playing around with CLI 53, which is a tool you can use just for managing Route 53 DNS. And I think what we're going to do is just we will dump and re-import the full zone file for both domains using CLI 53 to manage that, and have a number of people on this working group have access to do that. So changes to DNS can be done via pull request and then pushed live by a build working group team member. So it's both transparent and doable by multiple people. And that's actually really straightforward. So it's just a matter of getting CLI 53 installed, which is pretty easy. It's just a Python thing. So that's I probably should have that done within the next few days, or at least have the proposal ready to look at in the next few days. Okay. Don't know the status of the PPC machines, but I did hear that Johan was working with Michael on that, and Michael wanted to run 32-bit builds and tests on the same machines, but I think that's probably going to be a bit of chaos because we're just not supporting parallelized builds and tests on the same machine, even if it's a different user, because of port conflicts and whatnot. So
Right.
I don't know where that left off.
Yeah, we definitely need different slaves.
Yeah. Just looking through the previous minutes. There's a few things outstanding for me still. like 32-bit OS X builds. Okay, that's all from me that I think it's worth covering. Is there anything else you want to cover, Alexis? I know you're still looking for feedback on Node accept pull request. I haven't had time to jump in and have a look at that yet.
Yes, Node test pull request is still waiting for feedback, and as soon as it gets it, at some point we want to retire IOJS NEPR multi, and I was hoping to get coverage for V10 done before announcing it, at least, so I don't have to make two different announcements.
So how do we coordinate that with the fact that we need 2010 support in there as well?
It's V10 support, not 2010.
Yeah, but we need an extra. Do we need an extra build machine for Visual Studio 2010?
No, I don't think so. Even in old Node, we don't use 2010.
Okay, so we're currently testing everything that needs to be tested for V10 and V12.
Well, the V10 support is missing. That's what I'm working on.
Okay. Okay,
so,
but we're not missing anything from the infrastructure. It's just a matter of the code and the.
Yeah, it's just a matter of getting the same PR that got accepted in 012 ported over, and we didn't have the flaky test stuff in V10 either. We kind of left it behind. But now I was kind of taking the opportunity to add that support.
Okay.
Since I need to port some job for V10 anyway, so I might as well port this one. The changes seems to cherry pick nicely.
And is there a GitHub user account that we need to add to IOJS to make this work?
I already added my credentials.
So when it does an accept pull request, does it do who does it do it under? Like, what's the Git?
It will push with my credentials at the moment.
Okay.
But it will set the committer as the user who started the job. So this requires every Jenkins user as a full name and email, because this will appear in the Git logs.
Right. Okay.
Anyway,
should we try and get feedback from the broader team? Pull in some collaborators to start testing this.
Yes, it's almost ready. I mean, I could have announced it today, but then I started working on V10. I was going to get Johan to look at it first, but if we don't get Johan to review in the next couple of days, we can definitely go and announce it.
Yeah, I don't want us to be blockers for this. So if it's feedback we need, then we can go ahead and try and find people to give us feedback.
Yeah, definitely this week we'll get it.
Okay, cool.
And people will be able to use accept pull request even if they want to. It might take 5 hours to run and then fail because of a flaky test, which a combination might be pretty irritating.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, let's wrap it up.
Sure.
I'm going to go back to bed.
All right. Get some rest.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for joining us, Michael. Okay.
Hey, me. See you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.